This is KCRA 3. We begin with breaking news.
That breaking news is out of Manteca. Police have made 2 arrests in the assault of a 71-year-old Sikh man. Surveillance video shows the crime that Manteca residents describe as disturbing and upsetting. In the video, you can see for yourself the moments that the senior citizen was approached by those 2 people. They threw him to the ground, kicked him several times, as you see. They also spat on him. Police are saying that 1 man and a juvenile have now been arrested. They are in custody right now. The motive for the attack has not been released. We're going to continue to follow developments in this story out of Manteca and bring them to you as soon as they become available. The other big story we're following here at noon: smoke and fire. Major fires continue to burn across California as thousands of firefighters work nonstop to contain the flames. Meanwhile, smoke billowing from the 3 biggest fires, causing choking conditions outside with air quality alerts across many areas. And we begin with the latest on those fires. Some 14,000 firefighters from as far away as Florida and even New Zealand and Australia are struggling to curb those 18 fires burning across the state. Right now, the largest of the fires is the Mendocino Complex fire. CAL FIRE says it is the largest in modern state history. It consists of 2 fires, the Ranch Fire and the River Fire. Now, these 2 fires have not merged, but they are in the general same area. That's in the Mendocino Complex of fires. The new numbers show the fire has grown to more than 251,000 acres. This is the fire burning above Clear Lake. Crews also making significant progress on containment. It is up to 46%. The fire burning east of Clear Lake is the River Fire. That's the larger of the 2. It's 81% contained. It's burned nearly 49,000 acres. To Tuolumne County, and the Donnell fire continues to grow. It's burning northeast of Donnell Lake in the Stanislaus National Forest. The fire is covering more than 13,000 acres. So far, it's destroyed 26 structures. The fire is now 5% contained. In the meantime, officials have made an arrest in relation to the Holy Fire. Investigators arrested 51-year-old Forrest Gordon Clark on suspicion of 2 counts of felony arson and 1 count of felony threat to terrorize. Officials now say the Holy Fire is more than 4,100 acres. It's burning in Orange County and Holy Jim Canyon in the Santa Ana Mountains. The new number released this morning as dozers continue to build containment lines. Those are the new numbers. We're also getting some new aerials of the fire, and you can see how intense these flames are. Look at it racing up the mountainside there. The smoke emitting a lot of smoke there, reaching hundreds of feet into the air. 10 helicopters and 7 fixed-wing aircrafts are working in conjunction with firefighters on the ground. The fires also burned some structures. It's not far from neighborhoods just at the bottom of those mountains, as you see the neighborhoods there. This fire is just 5% contained. All these fires are making for some smoky conditions across the state. As we take a live look outside right now, skies over Fairfield, Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, and Lake Tahoe. There are air quality concerns in some regions. Sensitive groups are being asked to stay indoors. And let's turn it over to meteorologist Dirk Verdorn with a look on where the smoke is coming from and if we could possibly see a relief from it. We'd love to get it all blown out of here.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? But right now we're still going to be dealing with the smoke, and we have 3 areas where we're getting most of the smoke from. One is the Carr Fire, and you can still see here in the satellite loop lots of smoke coming from that area in Shasta County, according to the Carr Fire. And then we have the Mendocino Complex. That's the next one that's putting out still a lot of smoke in through Lake counties and the surrounding counties in that region. And then we have the Donnell Fire, and you can see actually that shows up the best, but it's not putting out the volumes of smoke that we see from the Carr Fire and the Mendocino Complex, but it is still putting out smoke, and that smoke is heading towards the Tahoe area. So as far as air quality right now, we're seeing the poorest air quality throughout much of the Sierra. You can see this from Tahoe south and into the foothills as well. Looks like from Pollock Pines down towards Jackson, San Andreas, even Ione getting some of that smoke, in Sonora, Groveland, all in areas where we have this that's an unhealthy category. Also areas of orange showing unhealthy for sensitive groups, stretching up past Auburn towards Yuba City. And then we get more very poor air quality as you make your way on into northern Yolo County and portions of Napa County and even into Colusa County and Lake County, all getting very poor air quality this afternoon. This is going to continue through today and tomorrow. The only chance we have is possibly Friday. I'll talk more about that coming up, Lisa.
All right, Dirk. And as you know, Dirk, school districts are keeping an eye on air quality as students are returning to school. Some of them today, many tomorrow. A lot of schools have outdoor recess, but with the smoky conditions, it's not a good idea. At Jefferson School in Sacramento's Natomas School District, they say their students' health comes first.
We're certainly aware of the horrific wildfires and the air quality problems that it's created. We monitor that very closely. As you know, there's an index that comes out from air quality officials that advise school districts on what to do. We'll be monitoring that throughout the day, and if we reach a point where they feel it's unhealthy, we'll make decisions about the kinds of steps to take, which could include things like keeping kids in for recess and that kind of thing.
And this is the first day back to school for students at Jefferson School, and we will have more on that story coming up in just a few moments. So to keep track of the wildfires around the state and to get up-to-date containment numbers, download the free KCRA 3 app. Well, many people are raising concern about wildfire alerts, and in some of the fires, people reported that they didn't get any warning at all. A bill in the state assembly would change that. It requires the Office of Emergency Services to establish statewide emergency alert guidelines. But emergency officials say one of the biggest challenges right now is getting people to opt into the alert system.
People that aren't signed up in the system, don't have a landline, if they don't opt in, we don't have their cell phone number. I know the interviews we've done with you, we've said if we can't reach you, we can't warn you.
The new guidelines haven't been drafted yet, but the state is looking at using the federal wireless emergency alert system, and that can reach anyone with a cellular device. Well, supporters call it a patient's right to know. And today, it is the focus of attention at the state capitol. Victims of sexual assault and others want to change the law when it comes to doctors and their past. At a legislative hearing, they voiced support for a bill that would force any doctor who has been placed on probation for sexual abuse to notify their patients of their history. The bill would also include if doctors have been placed on probation for drug or alcohol abuse that results in harm to patients, a criminal conviction, or inappropriate prescriptions that resulted in harm to a patient. The push comes after USA Gymnastics former doctor Larry Nassar was convicted of sexually assaulting dozens of patients.
And I think it will help discourage predators from finding a medical degree and then hiding behind a white coat so they can take advantage of others.
Transparency is vital. When secrecy is allowed around misconduct of any kind, it is then when perpetrators gain the confidence in their actions and continue to abuse.
Today was a hearing on the issue. The committee did not take a vote on the legislation. In Los Angeles, the president of the University of Southern California has resigned. Max Nikia stepped down amid abuse allegations against a university physician. It's the biggest step USC has taken since sexual misconduct allegations arose against USC's former longtime campus gynecologist, Dr. George Tyndall. He was the school's only full-time gynecologist for nearly 30 years. Allegations by more than 50 women have prompted lawsuits and a police investigation. He and the school are being sued by several women who accused Tyndall of performing examinations without gloves and using inappropriate sexual language. Some of the alleged victims spoke with NBC's Natalie Morales back in June.
He took pictures of me during the exam
while I was up in the stirrups. He told me I was beautiful.
It's painful to know that our collective voices ultimately meant near nothing to USC.
Dr. Tyndall's criminal defense lawyer tells NBC that his client continues to believe that when all the facts are revealed, it will be concluded that his examinations of students were always for the stated medical purpose. In the meantime, USC board member Wanda Austin is taking over as the school's interim president. Back at the state capitol, the head of the Department of Motor Vehicles is facing more tough questions from lawmakers today. Members of the Joint Legislative Audit Committee want answers to the growing problem of the long lines at the DMV. DMV Director Jean Shimoda faced those questions from fed-up lawmakers on the Budget Subcommittee yesterday. She apologized for customers having to wait up to 8 hours to renew their driver's license. And she said some of the agency's technology is 40 years old and can't keep up with the demand. The legislature approved $226 million in additional funds for the DMV to handle the anticipated rush of Real ID customers. While the DMV claims to have hired 500 employees and has started Saturday hours, customers still report those long wait times. KCRA 3's Vicki Gonzalez is working on this story again for us today, and we'll have more on the KCRA 3 News at 4. Well, back to school for thousands of students in Sacramento's Natomas area, as we mentioned. And students were also met with some final stages of construction work today. School upgraded with new roofing, heating, and air conditioning systems, as well as phone and intercom systems. Students will also be using new furniture in classes and have increased internet capacity. According to the preliminary state data, Natomas Unified students increased their test scores in both English and math last year, ranking among the first in Sacramento County school districts in the percentage of graduates completing college entrance requirements. And students were ready for their first day back to school.
Absolutely excited. Glad to be here. The construction is looking good. Excited about the expansion.
Jefferson Elementary is pre-K through 7th grade, but it's one of 3 schools in Natomas Unified transitioning to K through 8th grade. Coming up this afternoon on the KCRA3 News at 4, we've got brand new research on the benefits of inducing labor for new moms, when doctors say it should now happen, and how their new recommendations could reduce C-section rates. We've got that and much more coming up this afternoon at 4. But first, still to come here at noon, children head back to school and could be exposed to many different experiences, including drugs. One father's warning for parents. Also, as wildfires continue to rage on throughout the state, one business owner in Sacramento is taking his talents to Shasta County to help out. And a historic flight for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, what these women just accomplished. Here's a look at the numbers on Wall Street. Dow Jones down just slightly, down 21 points. NASDAQ up about 10 points, and S&P 500 up about 1.5 points. To Parkland, Florida now, and more security measures will be in place when school starts at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Classes start there in a week. 17 people were gunned down during a mass school shooting there last February, as you may recall. And Broward School Superintendent Robert Runcie toured the school this morning. He says that thousands of dollars have been spent at the school to increase campus security. School is now equipped with a single point of entry visitor intercom system and controlled access key card readers.
We've been focused on safety. That's our biggest priority. We will continue to work to make sure that every student, every teacher, every staff member here at Stoneman Douglas and throughout all of Broward County, that they not only feel safe, but that they are safe at each and every single school in Broward County.
The district has also hired more security officers and guidance counselors. We wish those students the best. All right, well, a town hall meeting will be held in Stockton this evening by Congressman Jerry McNerney. He will be taking questions and concerns about important issues in the community and throughout the country. It goes from 6 until 7:30 at Temple Israel. That's on North El Dorado Street. And he will have another town hall meeting in Antioch tomorrow night if you would like to attend. Turning back to our KCRA3 wildfire coverage, amid all the devastation these fires have caused, we have seen acts of kindness that are bringing communities together. And today, a local chef is bringing his talent to Redding to help feed the firefighters. Chef Billy New of Crew departed early this morning after loading up all of his gear to cook meals for those firefighters.
This is nothing, just a few days out of our week to help, wish we could do more.
They'll also be feeding the volunteers in Shasta County. Really nice of him to go do that. All right, let's turn to our KCRA3 weather. Flash flooding hit New York City after heavy downpours. Look at this. This is in Brooklyn. Streets turned into muddy rivers. About 2 feet of water in some areas. That didn't stop drivers from trying to go through it, though. More rain is expected today. I don't think they're used to that kind of flash flooding. Some good news in Puerto Rico, though. 11 months after Hurricane Maria wreaked havoc, officials say power has been restored to most of the island's residents. Of the nearly 1.4 million customers who lost power after the storm, only 25 remain in the dark. The state-owned utility has struggled over the last year to recover from last September's storm. Strongest storm to hit the U.S. territory in 85 years. It was a doozy. All right, in our area, we're really just struggling with this smoke out there. And it's just so bad. I mean, you can hear it in my voice.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem is well, we don't have a whole lot of wind. Well, that's good for battling the fire. That's not good for air quality, because what helps is get that wind to mix up the air and make it so that the smoke's not as concentrated as we're seeing it now. And you can see that layer of smoke across the valley from our downtown Sacramento sky camera. This does impact temperatures. We are warming up gradually. It's 76 degrees outside right now, and again, calm conditions the wind, again, with it not being there, it just sits here. This air quality not very good. Stockton, same thing, not much in the way of wind. We have a temperature of 84 degrees, but that layer of smoke is going to slow down the warming process throughout the day today. And through Stockton, Modesto, 84 degrees, calm conditions. Again, no wind. That means poor air quality in through Stanislaus County. How about Fairfield, 77 degrees. There's a southwest wind, but it's only blowing at 9 miles per hour. And if we're talking about that onshore breeze or the Delta breeze, that's just a trickle. That's not very strong at all. And so, yeah, we do need to have a little bit more in the way of wind coming our way. Around Lake Tahoe, again, not much wind, but we have a northeast breeze blowing at 7 miles per hour and a current temperature of 79 degrees. And just look at that smoke covering the lake. You can't see across the lake, so it's reducing visibility quite a bit, down to about 5 miles right now. Air quality, taking another look at the map, and you can see the extent of the poor air quality. This is unhealthy for everyone. It's the areas of red stretching from Tahoe on the east shore, south shore, and all the way along Highway 50, past Pollock Pines, and then near Jackson, again, Ione, those areas, Sonora, Groveland, all in poor air quality mode. We are looking at moderate levels of smoke across the valley, and then it gets poor again as you get closer to the Mendocino complex that, of course, engulfs areas from Colusa County through Lake County, northern Napa County. All those areas are impacted by that smoke with poor air quality. Do have conditions that are going to be heating up through today and tomorrow. High pressure ridge is actually going to be building through that time frame. Beyond that, we do have a chance for some cooling, and when that occurs, we could see the winds pick up and help to clear out our air a little bit. Temperatures, though, today, depending on just how thick that smoke gets, we could see daytime highs in the upper 80s to lower 90s around Truckee and Lake Tahoe. We're looking at mid 90s through Auburn, Jackson, and Angels Camp. A little bit cooler in Grass Valley with a daytime high of 91 degrees. If you really want to cool down, San Francisco's the place to be. 64 degrees for a daytime high, 89 in Concord, and 88 degrees today in Antioch. Valley spots will be warming up into the 90s with temperatures getting close to 100 in Modesto and Turlock. Getting a little bit further away from that little onshore breeze that we have in the Delta region. 97 in Woodland, 96 Yuba City, and 98 in Roseville. 7-day forecast. Temperatures do bump up a little bit as we head through Thursday. We'll still have the haze in the valley. We could see some changes on Friday. Again, get a little bit of a breeze, help clear out some of the smoke. Temperatures are going to steadily cool, though, as we have this cooler air mass coming into the Pacific Northwest, and that's going to impact our weather as well. So it could help to not only clear out some of the smoke, but also it could bring some cooler temperatures in our direction.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be.
That'd be really nice. All right, Dirk, thank you. All right, well, now to the glass ceiling being broken at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. 2 pilots are now the agency's first all-female Hurricane Hunter flight crew. Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Waddington and Captain Christy Twinning made history over the weekend when they flew toward Hurricane Hector in Hawaii. It was the first time 2 female pilots had shared a cockpit on a NOAA hurricane mission. Since the NOAA Hurricane Hunters program began in the 1960s, no 2 women had ever piloted a plane together. The 2 say while they're proud of their accomplishment, they're more proud of the mission that they are doing and the safety they're providing for people by getting that information for all of us. Well, the unveiling of a second hospital set to open in Sacramento coming up next, where medical services will soon be available, and the hospital that is now part of the expansion. Getting a diagnosis over your phone. CVS plans to offer a service to treat easy-to-diagnose illnesses such as colds and the flu via its smartphone app. The video visit service will cost $59. CVS, which is close to buying Aetna, says insurance coverage on the service will be available in the coming months. Now, it will also be available any hour of the day or night. The service will initially be available here in California and then several other states. New kind of food shopping launching today in Sacramento. Amazon's adding curbside pickup option at Whole Foods stores for Prime members. Prime members can place orders via Amazon's Prime Now app and then have them loaded in their car when they get there. Prime members can get special discounts at Whole Foods. The service will also start today in Virginia Beach. It will be rolled out in more cities later on this year. We'll get ready for a big healthcare expansion in Sacramento. This is a part of a project called Aggie Square, and the people behind it say it could become nationally known in as little as 5 years from now. KCRA 3's Mike DeSalle reports on the big reveal that happened this morning.
There we go. Wow. What was unveiled at the corner of 49th and Broadway this morning, according to Sacramento's mayor, could be summed up in one word: dramatic. That's because UC Davis announced it is going to build a second hospital, a $60 million UC Davis rehabilitation hospital. The reason this is dramatic is because this project will serve as the first major project of something called Aggie Square.
Aggie Square is what this area will become known by nationally, we believe.
So what is Aggie Square and why might it be so dramatic? Well, it's a vision shared by UC Davis, private business, and Sacramento City leaders to expand its Sacramento campus into a technology, education, innovation, and healthcare hub on the 25 acres of open space just south of the Med Center.
Rehabilitation is pushing the boundaries of technology and what humans can do after recovering from injury and illness.
The hope is that in 5 to 10 years, this spot will be a hub of students, entrepreneurs, doctors, and businesses, all collaborating on new ideas to take to market. A vision to transform Oak Park and create hundreds of new jobs every step of the way.
It would be fun to look into the future, wouldn't it, and see what it looks like in 20 years, because I don't think we'll recognize this place.
So how quickly might this first project be done? I'm told that this vacant building at the corner of 49th and Broadway will be torn down possibly by the end of this year. And if that happens, this project, this second hospital, could be completed by the end of 2020. In Sacramento's Oak Park neighborhood, standing on the spot of the future, Aggie Square, Mike Tassell, KCRA 3 News.
The new hospital will create 200 new jobs. It will also double the rehabilitation services currently available at the UC Davis Medical Center. Coming up this afternoon at 4, we continue our coverage of the DMV hearing at the Capitol today. Lawmakers want answers as to why lines are so long and where all the agency's extra funding is going. We'll have the latest on how DMV officials are trying to fix the problems. That's coming up this afternoon at 4. I hope you'll join me then. But first, too close to call, the special election in Ohio neck and neck. We're going to look at how the candidates are responding to the narrow lead one of them holds. Plus, it is back to school season. One dad warning parents that their kids may be more susceptible to drug use. His story is coming up. And a live look at Rayleigh Field from West Sacramento. Can't see much into downtown Sacramento because it's still so smoky and hazy out there, but we see a little bit of a breeze with the flags. We'll check in with Dirk Verdorn to find out what that means.
From KCRA 3, this is breaking news.
Thanks for staying with us here at noon. I'm Lisa Gonzalez, and that breaking news we're following out of Manteca, where 2 teens have been arrested for allegedly beating a 71-year-old Sikh man in Manteca. 18-year-old Tyrone McAllister and a 16-year-old are in custody right now. We've just confirmed McAllister is the son of Union City's police chief. Both suspects face charges of attempted robbery, elder abuse, and assault with a deadly weapon. The disturbing assault was caught on surveillance camera that you just watched there, and you can see the Sikh man getting kicked to the ground at least twice, and then he was spat on. Manteca police say their investigation is continuing into whether this attack meets all of the legal elements for charging as a hate crime. Meantime, firefighters across California continue to battle at least 18 wildfires. We have new video of the Holy Fire in Orange County. It just shows how intense these flames and the smoke are right now. Smoke and haze are, of course, the big issues up and down the state. There are air quality alerts in several areas. Sensitive groups are being asked to stay inside. All right, let's go to Indonesia now, and the death toll from a massive earthquake has now gone up to 131 people. Rescuers intensified their efforts today, looking to find those possibly buried in the rubble. Nearly 2,500 people have been hospitalized with serious injuries after that magnitude 7.0 quake hit on Sunday. More than 156,000 people have been displaced because of the extensive damage to homes. Volunteers and rescue personnel are continuing to erect temporary shelters for the tens of thousands that are left homeless. And water is in short supply. Much of it is being distributed from trucks, along with food and medical supplies. To Spain now, more evacuations being issued for a major wildfire burning just south of Valencia. Already 2,500 people have been evacuated. You can see how close this fire is burning to a community. Huge plumes of black smoke going up in the air because of this fire. Spanish emergency services say, however, that the wildfire was almost under control, but you can see how close it is to the road there. Heat wave in Japan sending a record number of people to the hospital. Since the start of May until August, Japan's Fire and Disaster Management Agency says the number of people hospitalized from heat stroke was more than 71,000 people. 138 of those died. The last record for heat stroke hospitalization was set back in 2013 with more than 58,000 hospitalized. To Switzerland now, cleanup operations underway after a mudslide tore through a village. That mud came rushing down a hillside. Look at this. This is right towards people's homes. I'm thinking she should get out of the way. It's going kind of fast. Villagers say they heard it coming. They ran outside to watch. One woman had to run out of the way to avoid getting hit by the mud flow. The mud hit cars and houses, and there were no reports of injuries. In the meantime, cybersecurity and intelligence experts say the U.S. is bracing for cyber attacks from Iran in retaliation for the reimposition of sanctions this week by President Trump. Concern over cyber attacks from Iran has been rising since May, when the U.S. pulled out of the 2015 nuclear deal. Experts say they have seen an increase in chatter related to Iranian threat activity during the past several weeks. Iran denies using its cyber capabilities for offensive purposes and accuses the U.S. of targeting Iran. To our Commitment 2018 coverage now, and the critical special election in Ohio is too close to call, with the Republican candidate holding on to a narrow lead right now. The election in Ohio's 12th congressional district was the final test of a Republican versus Democrat before November's midterm elections, and both parties are watching very closely. Garrett Hawk reports on the latest from Columbus, Ohio, where they're counting provisional ballots right now.
12th congressional district.
Republican Troy Balderson delivering a victory speech in Ohio late last night without a clear-cut victory.
Over the next 3 months, I'm going to do everything I can to keep America great again.
The Ohio state senator currently sitting on a lead of less than a point. The race too close to call in a district President Trump carried by 11.
Can you believe how close this is?
Democrat Danny O'Connor promising to continue the fight, refusing to concede overnight.
We're not stopping now. Tomorrow we rest, and then we keep fighting through to November.
This comes after a major push from the president, stumping in Ohio over the weekend.
And I'll tell you what, we're going to have a tremendous victory for Troy Balderson.
In a tweet late last night, Mr. Trump claiming his visit pushed Balderson over the top. After my speech on Saturday night, there was a big turn for the better. Now Troy wins a great victory during a very tough time of the year for voting, he wrote. This was supposed to be safe territory for Republicans, but attitudes here are changing.
I almost feel like the president feels as if he's an autocrat instead of an elected official. And I don't like that.
Democrats believe that if they can make a district this reliably red, this close, they can put potentially dozens of other less Republican House seats in play in November. Congressman Christopher Collins of New York has been indicted on insider trading charges. Collins turned himself into the FBI this morning and is expected to be in federal court this afternoon. He's also been indicted for lying to the FBI. The charges are related to an 8 immunotherapeutics, an Australian biotechnology company on whose board of directors Christopher Collins served. In a statement, his attorneys say they are confident he will be completely vindicated and exonerated from the charges. Technology that could save lives. Automaker Nissan is expanding an alert system that reminds drivers to check the back seat of their car after leaving the car. The company is making the system standard on 8 2019 models. It uses a honking horn, door sensors, and a message display that alerts drivers to check the back seat. It was originally developed by two moms. By 2022, Nissan says all its four-door trucks, sedans, and SUVs will be equipped with this technology. And experts warn a vehicle's interior can quickly heat up to more than 110 degrees, even in moderate temperatures. It just happens so quickly. Credit card skimming warning for drivers at gas stations. The Federal Trade Commission is reminding consumers that watch out for those card skimming devices when you pay at the pump. Skimmers can grab data off your credit card or debit card without your knowledge. Be sure the gas pump panel is closed and doesn't show signs of tampering. If you pay with a debit card, run it as a credit card to protect your PIN. And remember, you can always pay inside. It happens so quickly. I know it has happened to me before. All right, in our State of Addiction coverage this noon hour, summer wrapping up and many students are heading back to school. And some experts are warning parents that this time of year is particularly vulnerable time for kids to experiment with drugs. Haley Hernandez talked with one father who says he just missed the warning signs.
He never caught him before, but by the first day of 10th grade, Kent Rivard found out his son was already addicted.
Showed up to school impaired. He was obviously using drugs pretty regularly,
and we just didn't key into all the signs early on.
Prevention specialist Xavier Barron says one of the early signs parents can watch for is lying.
Like, why would they lie about that? Or they said they were going to be here, but instead they're there. Or they said they did this. And, you know, things that are kind of funny that aren't adding up, right? Those are indicators of something that maybe it's not supposed to be happening is happening.
As students start new school years, new friend groups, now can be a dangerous time for some kids to be isolated, which is the #1 risk factor, according to Barron, that leads kids to drugs. He encourages parents to be active in kids' school lives and open about communication to help prevent drug use.
Programs now with like muffins with mom and donuts with dad, and, you know, communicating with their teachers and really keeping a pulse on, you know, getting collateral information, not just from your child, but also from the administrators and the students there.
But he says adolescents should never get a pass. Even the first time you find them using drugs or alcohol, an intervention is necessary. Looking back, Rivard says the one thing he wished he knew at the beginning of this journey, all the resources available to help his son.
As a scared parent, it's like you're drowning. You don't know what to do and where to turn.
After many times in and out of sobriety, he said his son is in college now, but still works on his recovery every day.
Now, Barron says even if you do only catch your child using drugs once, chances are that's not the first time. He says right away you should schedule a session with the therapist or a counselor. All right, in celebrity news now, actress Angelina Jolie says Brad Pitt is not pulling his weight when it comes to supporting their 6 children. Court documents show the actress is asking for a retroactive child support from the actor. Jolie's attorney writes Pitt has paid no meaningful child support since their 2016 separation. Former couple share 3 sons and 3 daughters, all under the age of 17. Jolie has primary physical custody of the children. Singer Carrie Underwood is expanding her family. The superstar singer made the announcement on Instagram today. This will be her 2nd child with her husband, professional hockey player Mike Fisher. Losing weight, is it easier for men? Yes, I think so. Coming up next, we'll tell you what a study out of Denmark is saying about the theory that men lose weight easier. Okay, losing weight isn't always easy. I mean, it's never easy, right? And there are times when women can say that it is harder for them to drop weight than it is for men. For me, that would be always. But there's new research in Denmark that shows that may actually be true. This is based off of research following a group of overweight adults with a low-calorie diet. Men in the study lost significantly more weight than women in 8 weeks. However, women did show more improvement in cholesterol, hip circumference, and pulse pressure. Oh, joy. Those weren't the things we're going for, but thanks. All right, some of you may recall the claim that when you eat poppy seeds, your drug test comes back positive. Well, one Maryland woman paid the price for her breakfast of choice the morning that her daughter was born. Theo Hayes has her story.
I was in labor. I was sitting in the bed. I was having contractions. I was on a Pitocin drip. And the doctor came in and said, "You've tested positive for opiates."
Elizabeth Eden never imagined she would test positive for opiates when she delivered baby Beatrice last spring. She had heard in a school health class that consuming poppy seeds could cause a false positive, but that was certainly not on her mind when she gave birth at St. Joseph Medical Center April 4th.
And I said, "Well, can you test me again?" And I ate a poppy seed bagel this morning for breakfast. And she said, "No, you've been reported to the state."
Poppy seeds come from the opium poppy plant. The drug is made from the sap of that plant, but the seeds contain trace amounts of opiates. And it doesn't take much to test positive for drugs after eating a poppy seed bagel. In fact, studies have shown that just a teaspoon of poppy seeds can cause your levels to be as high as 1,200 nanograms per milliliter. A positive test at St. Joseph Medical Center is 300 nanograms per milliliter. Dr. Judith Rossiter Pratt, the chief of the Department of OBGYN, explains they use that as a means to catch as many true drug misusers as possible.
What you can see on this graph is that if you set the bar here, right here, you would only identify true positives. But what you also would do is miss quite a few individuals who did use drugs.
As a result of her breakfast choice, Eden's daughter had to stay in the hospital on hold for 5 days, and mom was assigned a state caseworker for a home checkup.
It was traumatizing.
We don't typically educate patients, and it's a really good point that people probably should know that if you use poppy seeds before you have a toxicology screen, that it could result in a false positive test.
After realizing Eden's situation was a legitimate case of the poppy seed defense, her caseworker closed the file, but it was an ordeal she hopes no mom has to go through.
Yeah, poor mom. In a detailed letter to St. Joseph's, Eden detailed her research on poppy seeds and raised her concerns, and she hopes the hospital would raise its threshold for a positive test, or at least warn the expecting mothers, because they kind of know what hospital they're going to in advance. All right, many dog owners consider their pets to be a member of their family. Coming up next, one woman says a company is threatening to take her dog away from her family, and why she says she is being scammed.
And it's another warm, smoky day today across Northern California, but there are some changes in the weather pattern. I'll let you know what's going to happen and when coming up.
Well, imagine the threat of someone taking away your family's dog. Well, a woman in Long Island, New York, says a company is threatening to do just that. She financed the purchase of the pet, and if she doesn't make a costly final payment, she says the company wants to take their dog away. Antoinette Bjordi explains.
We fell in love with them.
Danielle Cittadino and her family, who live in Baldwin, absolutely adore their golden retriever, Max.
The dog is a part of my family. He's not going anywhere, my Max.
Max cost about $1,500 at Shake-a-Paw in Lynbrook. Danielle says she didn't have the money up front to pay for Max, so they were given a financing option.
The couple says when they went to Shake-a-Paw, they had to fill out all of this paperwork for Wags Lending, and they admit they didn't know exactly what they were getting themselves into.
Danielle says they ran her credit and she was approved, but in reality, she was leasing the dog from Wags Lending, a company that claims affordable leasing for pet lovers.
I had no idea it was a lease. They tell me, you know, I hear of financing. It's a loan.
She says she made payments of $145.19 a month on time for 23 months. But she never expected to have to make a final lease payment of more than double that, $338.07. She says Wags Lending called to tell her that if she doesn't make that last payment, they will repossess her dog.
It's wrong. You can't rip a dog out of somebody's family that's been a part of their family for 2+ years.
We found similar complaints from consumers online who used Wags Lending. Consumer rights attorney Anthony Bellato says it all comes down to buyer beware.
It really sounds like a scare tactic to me that they're, phrasing it as a lease and saying that they have a right of repossession if you don't make full and timely payments.
As for Danielle, she says she's not budging.
I'm sorry, but you're not getting the dog back, nor are you getting this last payment. It's a scam. To me, I believe it's a scam.
And that was Antoinette Bjordi reporting. Well, we have some incredible video coming in this noon hour of a fire whirl, or as some call it, a fire-nado. This was in Leicestershire, England. It happened at a fire at a plastics factory. The firefighters posted the video on Facebook and said it happens when cool air enters on top of the hot air, causing a swirl like that. I bet Dirk has a better explanation, but that's a pretty good explanation. What do you call it, Dirk?
No, well, I mean, people mistakenly call it a fire tornado because it looks like a tornado. Same thing with a dust devil. That's not a tornado, but this is more related to a dust devil than it is a tornado. A tornado, you need to have a thunderstorm to create the updraft.
Why don't they call it a fire devil then?
They do. That's actually
was that what you were mouthing to me?
Yes, I was.
I was trying to talk to you and listen to what Dirk was mouthing to me at the same time.
They're called fire whirls, or which I think the more news media would make it, make it more sexy, is the fire devil.
Fire devil. All right.
It's a fire devil. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at conditions we have right now. Conditions outside, well, we've been dealing with temperatures. Temperatures have been ranging in the 70s and 80s this afternoon, but air quality, you just look outside and we have the poor air quality. In fact, it's getting worse in some areas. You can see through Calaveras County, parts of Amador County near Jackson. This is where we have levels that are very unhealthy as far as the smoke concentrations go, and that stretches across Calaveras County almost towards the Tuolumne County border. Other than that, we have poor air quality stretching all the way in past Comanche, New Hogan. Those are areas. So Valley Springs, you're getting some poor air quality. Up near Pollock Pines and Tahoe, also seeing the poor air quality. It's getting a little bit better as you work your way across the valley on towards areas near Rumsey, where we've been having poor air quality all morning long. But this is a major component of our forecast today. What's going on with our air quality? What's going on with all the smoke outside? And we still have some very poor air quality for this afternoon because of all that smoke. Temperatures, as we go through the day today, we are looking at temperatures that are going to be warming well into the mid-90s for daytime highs. Expect to have conditions that are going to be changing over the next several days. We have our 7-day forecast that shows that we have an area of high pressure that's actually going to move out. And Friday's the day that we're going to notice these changes. We are going to see an area of low pressure moving into the Pacific Northwest. It's going to bring some cooler air along with it. It's going to increase a few more clouds into our sky on Friday, but this is going to be the transition day. So we go from the upper 90s tomorrow to the mid 90s on Friday. Still a fairly warm day, but as we get a little bit more wind in the forecast, that could help to clear out our air a little bit more. And hopefully, again, the fires get a little bit more containment, so they're putting out a little bit less smoke. And so we'll see a steady decrease in temperatures and hopefully an increase in our air quality, and mostly sunny skies coming about as we head through the weekend and on to next week. So our cool down, though, just lasts through about Tuesday. And then we start warming up for Tuesday and beyond. It looks like temperatures are going to bump back up into the triple digits. And so we do have some more heat. And if we don't have the smoke, because the layer of smoke actually keeps our temperatures down. If we didn't have the smoke right now, we'd be in triple digits. We'd be having temperatures over 100 degrees.
Right. So it's kind of like the lesser of the two. Yeah. All right, Dirk, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break right after our Pet of the Week.
Hi, I'm KCRA3 morning traffic anchor Melanie Hunter here with the Pet of the Week, and this is Cinnamon. She's a 7-year-old Staffy mix. She loves belly rubs. She does great on the leash and would be well in a house with other dogs. She's also very gentle, as you can see. So if you'd like to adopt her, you can call the Sacramento SPCA. That number is 916-383-PETS. If you're also interested in looking at other pets just like Cinnamon, you can attend the Free the Shelter Day. That is next Saturday, and dogs 5+ are $20. Cats 7 months plus are free.
Coming up on the KCRA3 News at 4, another extension for a homeless shelter in Sacramento that was supposed to just be temporary. We're going to tell you how it's being paid for and the latest on plans for where these people could live permanently. Beards are making a comeback, and it's having an impact on business. The industry taking a hit as men wait longer and longer between their shaves. We've got those and much more coming up this afternoon at 4. Well, today is International Cat Day, first observed in 2002 by the International Fund for Animal Welfare. The day celebrates the most popular pet on the planet. An estimated 500 million cats are loved by families in every country and climate. The furry felines are known to help improve mental health and relieve stress, anxiety, and depression, and they love to cuddle up. Our 2 cats love to catch the rats, so that's why we have them. They catch mice and rats.
I think my dog would be a little offended by that.
What, that they're most popular on the planet? Well, sorry. All right.
What are you going to do?
I know. You got to keep a lot of those cats inside, though, for the air quality is so bad. Also with your pets, too, right? Yeah. It's getting bad for all of us, as we see in Lake Tahoe. Thanks for watching the KCRA3 News at noon. I hope you'll join us again at 4.